Because just before the break, we told you about yet another airline tragedy today. This plane apparently crashing after disappearing from radar. This, if you are keeping count, this is now the third incident this week alone. So is it a bigger risk to fly these days? Let's talk about this with CNN aviation analyst Lessa Bin, also a 777 pilot, CNN Global Affairs analyst Kimberly Dozier, and CNN Outfront anchor Erin Burnett. So welcome to all of you. And Erin Burnett, let me just begin with you. You have been to Burkina Faso. This is where this plane took off. What's the airport like?
You know, this is interesting. It's like many airports in that region, Brooke. In some senses, it's small, it's chaotic, it's not air conditioned. It's not what you would, the kind of airport that you would see here in the United States. We actually spent quite a bit of time actually circling this airport. It wasn't just that we flew in and out of it. We circled it because it might be a little bit more sophisticated of an airport than some give it credit for. Reportedly, Brooke, there's a CIA drone base there, and those the reports are this has never been admitted by the CIA. We were looking for them, we didn't see them, but we have a lot of footage of that airport. They were operating those drones, reports say, to look at the situation in northern Mali, which of course borders Burkina Faso, where those al-Qaeda-linked rebels were amassing weapons. And of course, at the time, there were concerned those were shoulder-fired missiles and RPGs, which is why some people have raised that question linking to this Air Algerie crash today. But I should emphasize from the people I've talked to in Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso today, Brooke, and others, right now all signs in this particular crash are leaning towards weather, that there had been horrific weather, and it is the rainy season there now. When the storms come through, they're incredibly powerful, and that is what the working theory is right now that might have caused this crash. Okay, so working theory being weather. Lessa Bin, though, we have talked multiple times, just even this week, about another airline tragedy, MH17. You said on the show it was a game changer, that the fact that a commercial airliner was shot, presumably out of the sky. How will this affect a pilot's checklist going forward?
Well, you know, this is something that most of us don't consider or haven't considered, at least in the past. You know, especially out of the United States. I mean, there's numerous aspects of our pre-flight planning that we even do before we get into the cockpit, and we do this in conjunction and collaboration with our dispatcher, who's in a remote spot away from our particular bases most of the time. But you know, now we've got to take this into consideration. Shortly after September 11th, we were considering man-pads being the biggest threat after what we experienced, but you know, even that was considered a low risk, and it just didn't warrant the cost. So now we're talking about missiles that can go all the way up to cruise altitude in the 70,000+ feet. You know, it's just an incredible aspect that we're going to have to consider in our pre-flight planning. You
brought up man-pads. It's an acronym for shoulder-launched missiles, Kimberly Dozier, and I think we touched on this yesterday, but the fact is a lot of these man-pads around the world, and especially in Africa, they're missing.
Missing, and they've been sold to the highest bidder in places like Libya. There are credible reports that al-Qaeda-linked organizations like al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb have stores of these. And TSA Administrator John Pistole actually addressed this morning here at the Aspen Security Forum. He talked about the fact that while airports in the United States have had security checks done on them to make sure the perimeter is wide enough and that someone with a shoulder-fired missile couldn't threaten a plane. But he said airports overseas, not so much. And the TSA regularly briefs U.S. airlines on which airports are considered more dangerous. And then they're working with some of those airports to do things like establish a perimeter fence. Some of them don't even have fences, or they don't have cameras on those fences to make sure that someone couldn't just sneak to the edge and wait for one of the planes to take off.
You know, I feel like this then brings us to a bigger discussion just about flying. I mean, I'm sure all of us hop planes pretty often, and Erin, you have been many places all around the world. And when you think about, let's say, if you take a plane, a lot of Americans, whether they want to admit to it or not, some people really look more to who's sitting next to them, for example, than maybe some missile, right, that could lurk underneath. But do you think that this, just all these multiple incidents, may really change the mindset if you're flying internationally? Because if you're hopping a plane, let's say going to Dubai or elsewhere in Africa, perhaps you'd be thinking differently.
You might be, and when you look at, you bring up Dubai as a good example, right? The main route in and out of that airport, goes over Iraq. You know, it's very hard to find a way in and out of that airport that doesn't go over some sort of a war zone. They end up using the route over Iran. But also, when you look at what happened with this latest this crash out of Burkina Faso over Mali, again, all signs point to weather, but it raises the question. You know, they have had concerns there that those militants who, no doubt, at least from what we saw when we were there, all the local people were talking about the RPGs and the weapons that those al-Qaeda-linked groups had obtained from Libya, that there was concern that they could shoot planes out of the sky. This was a couple of years ago, and people kind of mentioned it sort of in passing, that, oh, maybe some of the Air France flights aren't going to fly directly over northern Mali because they'd be aiming at Air France. And now that has become a tangible reality for people. And I don't think there's any question that people are going to think about it a little bit more than they did before.
Still, go ahead, Les.
Yeah, Brooke, I mean, if I can interject here, you know, let's not tell the flying public that one of their biggest dangers is to get shot down by a missile. I think there's more environmental factors that are out there that are bigger threats than that at this point in time. And it's pure speculation, you know, that maybe this was involved with this Algerian tragedy. We don't know, and even weather may be pure speculation at this point in time. This is all part of accident investigation, which should have really been occurring with MH17, you know, in the first place. But we really need to get the facts and put everything together, because, as most of us have been saying, David Susi and myself, there's a lot of causal factors to any aircraft accident. The fact that it's that we've got 3 in such a short period of time, you know, I believe very much so that it's a random type of situation.
I am still getting on a plane next week. I've got to go to New York. Granted, it's not Dubai, but I'm not thinking twice about it, and I'm getting on that plane. But Kim, finally, just to you, it is interesting, both pre 9/11, post 9/11. It is planes. I mean, that seems to still be the prime target, the weapon of choice for terrorists.
Absolutely. And another thing that Pistole said this morning was that his leading worry was that a terrorist would get on an aircraft with some non-metallic, undetectable explosive device, and that he said that there's an ongoing and credible threat that they're trying to do that.
Kimberly Dozier, Erin Burnett, we'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock. Of course, Les Abend, thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Great discussion there.